Hi guys, so in today's video we're going to be talking about some interesting synchronicities between astrology and world events. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. We're going to be discussing one specific aspect in this video, and it will be Chiron. So every time that Chiron conjuncted the North Node, a conjunction in astrology is when two different points are right on top of each other, so they're in the same degree. And an example of that would be right over here. As you can see, Chiron, which is this one right here, that little symbol, is at 19 degrees of Sagittarius, and the North Node is also at 19 degrees of Sagittarius. So this just means that they're at the same point. Anyways, so the events when Chiron, so Chiron, just for some background information, is a comet that orbits the sun. And in astrology, it is known as the wounded healer. It's like the point of pain in the horoscope. And actually, it's not even that, not many people really look at Chiron, so it's kind of interesting, because when I was looking at all of these aspects, I was kind of looking at, okay, well, are there any aspects that seem to occur every time there are major events? And this actually ended up being the one that really popped out, but you'll see that in a second. Anyways, was surprised that Chiron was involved so heavily, because most people don't pay that much attention to Chiron, but apparently we should. So, I mean, I knew that we should, but didn't know to what degree until now. So, anyways, the North Node, on the other hand, is, so it is where the moon crosses the north of the ecliptic, and the South Node, which is at the point exactly opposing the North Node, is where the South Node, is where it crosses the south point of the ecliptic. The south of the ecliptic. Anyways, I don't know if that makes sense, but we're going to continue. Okay, so this was every time that Chiron was conjunct the North Node in the sky. And if you guys want to use this little search engine, it's really useful and convenient, but I'll put a link in the description for that. Alright, so this is every time it happened, and I made a little list of everything that happened during these periods of time, in history. Now, I excluded, there's a couple of these that I won't talk about until the end, because there wasn't any particularly notable event that happened shortly after the conjunctions themselves, but we're going to talk about the ones that seem to be most important or prominent. So so the first conjunction that we're going to talk about is when, of Chiron and the North Node, is March 9th of 1914. And this occurred at 14 degrees of Pisces. And this was actually right before the World War I began. So the conjunction occurred on March 9th, and then World War I began on July 28th of 1914. Then the next one, okay, so yeah, there we go. And so then the next one was October 23rd of 1929, and that one occurred at 12 degrees of Taurus, and that also, that happened to occur like 5 days before Black Tuesday. So if you don't know what Black Tuesday is, that was the stock market crash of 1929. So that was interesting. This piqued my interest. Anyways, then the next time it happened was January 27th of 1954, and that was at 23 degrees of Capricorn. And then shortly after that, like less than a month later, February 23rd was the first mass inoculation against polio with the Jonas Salk vaccine, which took place at Arsenal Elementary School in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you guys, not many people know about this, but basically, here's, what is his name? Jonas Salk. There's Jonas Salk, and he inoculated the first 137 school children on February 23rd of 1954. Then, shortly after this, a nationwide inoculation campaign was immediately launched, though it was briefly suspended after more than 200,000 people that were injected with a bad batch of vaccines from a California lab. So it was after, and then a bunch of children died, unfortunately. So, yeah, that was what happened then. Then the next time it happened was March 1st of 1969, and on April 7th, a month later, was the birth of the internet. So yeah, with the publication of RFC 1. And there we go, birth of the internet. Woohoo. Okay, so yeah. Then after that, the next time it happened was June 23rd of 1984, and this was at 5 degrees of Gemini. Now this was difficult because there isn't exactly a major event for this time, but because I had a hard time figuring this one out. But basically at this time, this was when they were injecting people with the hepatitis B vaccine, which also seemed to overlap, interestingly, with the HIV/AIDS epidemic. So kind of weird, you know. According to people that I know that were around in the 80s, they said that the hepatitis B vaccine seemed to come out before HIV/AIDS, but I mean, I'm not making any broad assumptions here, or saying anything. Anyways, something to look into. And yeah, this was also the hepatitis B vaccine was produced by gene splicing, and I believe it was the first vaccine to be produced in such a manner. Anyways, so then the next date after that was August 3rd of 1996 at 11 degrees of Libra, and this was when, in the same month, August 23rd of that month, Osama bin Laden basically declared war against America. And I don't know how you guys feel about the war related to terrorism and stuff, but it's whatever you believe to be true is your prerogative. Anyways, moving on. July 28th of 2008 was the next time it happened, and this was at 19 degrees of Aquarius, and this happened to occur right before the financial crisis of 2008, or not before, but it coincided with it. But the climax of it was the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers, which occurred on September 15th of 2008, and was only about 2 weeks, or a little bit more than 2 weeks after this date here. And the next time that this seems to happen, the next time that the conjunction is going to occur is going to be on March 5th of 2024 at 17 degrees of Aries. I'm so sorry, guys, but I'm really tired today. Anyways, now, the interesting thing here is that in the last video that I made, where I talked about NYC and like the upcoming stock market predictions and stuff, I talked about 2024 and why it seems a little bit concerning, like a concerning time. And this was because in the progress chart of NYC, you have like a very interesting T-square, really strong T-square happening, which took many decades to form, because in the progress chart everything moves very slowly. So anyways, you can see right here, the T-square is Uranus at 23 degrees of Leo, opposite Venus at 21 degrees of Aquarius, conjunct Pluto at 22 degrees of Aquarius, and then the apex of the T-square is Jupiter at 24 degrees of Scorpio. And then also Saturn is like in conjuncting this, and also aspecting these 2 points as well. So that's interesting. But yeah, that's why I thought this was interesting, because this seems to also take place. So like this Chiron-North Node conjunction, which seems to occur every time something major happens in history or some sort of important worldwide event happens, is also going to be happening at the same time as we have this really weird progressed thing happening in the chart of NYC. So yeah, and as far as like when exactly that could go down, I don't know. But 25th of March is interesting because there's it's a lunar eclipse conjuncting the progress moon, which is important to pay attention to. If you're ever looking at progress charts, you want to see if there are any eclipses falling on the progress moon. That's one thing I watch for, or any other points in the chart. But yeah, that is all I wanted to discuss. It seems like there seems to be more evidence that 2024 is an important time, in my opinion. And also, another thing worth mentioning is that if you look at the other 2 dates on this list that had to do with crashes or major crashes in history, I'm going to do another video, or I plan to do another video, about the progressions that were going on during 1929, because there was a lot of stuff happening in the progress chart of NYC during this date in 1929 and also in 2008. So that's part of why I wonder if this conjunction here in 2024 has to do with a potential crash, like a major stock market crash or like financial collapse of some sort, because this progress chart thing, whatever, coincides with this, just like it did during those other 2 times when we had major crashes. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Please follow me on Twitter on anything that I put in the description if you are ready, willing, and able, and if not, then that is fine. I am just grateful that you spent time watching the video anyways. So thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Stay safe.